Good evening and welcome to the August 19th meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Flossmoor. Just as a reminder, this meeting is being streamed via Zoom for the convenience of those who are unable to make it in person. There will be a public comment portion of the meeting after a brief recognition. During public comment, we ask that you abide by our policy, which is to introduce yourself and where you live, addressing the board rather than a single member of staff, and also acting with decorum. We also ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes per person, though if you don't need so much time, that'll allow us to hear from more people for a total maximum public comment time of 30 minutes. The time is 7:31. Clerk Logava, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Bradley Scott.
Present.
Trustee Daggett.
Here.
Trustee Driscoll.
Here.
Trustee Lofton.
Here.
Trustee Mitros.
Here.
Trustee Mustafa.
Here.
Mayor Nelson.
Present. Thank you so much. We have a forum. I see a bunch of kids here in the room tonight that we're going to recognize in just a few minutes. But first, I want to thank both the Flossmoor Police and Fire Department for all of your help during the first few days back at school. There were a couple of bumps, but working together as a team, got those ironed out, and I got good reports from today. So thank you so much for all of your efforts. First up, we are going to recognize the Flossmoor Pony League team, the Bulls. So if I could call up Flossmoor Baseball and Softball Association President Carl Lugazzi, Pony Division Chairperson Jason Rudolph, and then also the coach of the team, Andy Westing, for a brief presentation and recognition. Thank you. So the Flossmoor Pony League team, the Bulls, they won the 2024 South Suburban Youth Baseball League Championship on June 29th at Flossmoor Park. The Flossmoor Pony Baseball Division is for players aged 13 to 15 and includes teams from Stager, Sauk Village, Richmond Park, and Flossmoor. The Flossmoor Bulls team was coached by resident Andy Westing and ended the regular season with a 10-4 record. I'm going to introduce and ask to bring up the players from that team. We have Charles Bryant, Lindsay Dada, Darian Grayson, Hayden Jackson, Cam Johnson, Lacey Legato, Shane McGaffey, Jacoby Pittman, Julian Skelly, and Alex Westing. Curtis Jones. So this team entered the playoffs as the number 1 seed. They defeated Richmond Park 10-3 in the semifinal game with Bulls pitcher Cam Johnson. Raise your hand, Cam. Oh, not here. Okay. And Charles Bryant. Charles is here. They combined to strike out 18 batters in that semifinal game. The championship game to face the Stager Stingers with strong pitching by Charles and 2 runs scored by Alex Westing. The Bulls took an early 2-0 lead in the game, but then Stager managed to come back and take a 3-2 lead going into the bottom of the 6th inning. There's 7 innings in these games. Okay? Charles stole home give the Bulls a chance for the win. The first two Bulls batters in the bottom of the seventh were retired, but Shane McGaffey reached first base due to an error, which put the winning run on first base. He then stole second base on the first pitch to the batter, and due to an overthrow by the catcher to the second baseman, he then was able to advance to home plate and scored the winning run. The final score was 4-3, and check out these numbers. Charles, our friend, he struck out 13 batters, including, but wait, there's more, an immaculate inning of 9 strikes and 3 strikeouts. A perfect inning. Alex got the final. Alex, who's not here tonight, he's the coach's son. He got the final 5 outs pitching, which included 3 strikeouts. Congratulations to Alex. For Coach Westing and his son Alex, this was their 4th straight South Suburban Youth Baseball League championship. And just a few more numbers for you. Their overall record was 54 wins, 10 losses, and 2 ties during those 4 years. And now they have aged out of the league. What are you going to do with them? Alex was the closing pitcher in all 4 championship games, and Charles won 3 straight championships with the team and pitched in all 3 championship games. So big congratulations to these players. Also, the Bulls and Coach Andy wanted me to make sure to thank Flossmoor Baseball and Softball League, the league president, Carlo Gazzi, who is here with us. Thank you, Carl. Also, the Pony Commissioner, Jason Rudolph. And all the parents, sponsors, neighbors, volunteers, and caregivers for all of their support. They worked hard for this, and now a few words from Coach Westing.
Thanks for, I think I wrote that, most of that, so. Yeah, thanks. Really great time, aged out finally, with baseball, but I've been in the league for 10 or 11 years or something like that. My kids have great memories. It's great that Flossmoor continues to have a baseball league, recreational baseball league for neighborhood kids to come and play, and great memories that last a lifetime. So it's great that we still have this league. And specifically, I'd like to thank my wife. She's right there. It's been stressful seasons. If you guys have never gone through a baseball season, it's pretty stressful. I managed to get myself kind of kicked out of the game. Not really. I got reinstated like 10 seconds later. But that led to a suspension by the league, so she had to start, she coached anyone up to 4 weeks.
On behalf of the league, my voice carries. On behalf of the league, I want to thank Andy for all the time. Youth sports brings out the best and the worst of people, as some of you all know here in the audience, and it takes a lot of effort and time. We're all volunteers, so hats off to Andy. It's a long run, and appreciate everything he's done. And like the mayor said, proof's in the pudding, and these guys, and Charles, I've known him since he's shorter than me, has had a tremendous run along with the rest of these guys. So kudos, hats off to you.
Except the league's in a really great place right now, thanks in large part to the leadership of Carlo Gazzi here. Ever since you came in, things have been headed on the up and up. And Andy, we're going to miss you, man. I don't know what we're going to do next year when we try to put a pony team together with no coach. So thanks for everything you did over all these 10 years you've been involved. Thanks to these kids for working so hard and making it happen on their end.
All right. Congratulations, guys. Work hard. We look forward to celebrating whatever's next for you too.
Thank you, Mayor. You guys appreciate it. Thank you.
Next, I've got the sign-in sheet for folks present wishing to address the board. First up, I have Miss Andrea Sherrick. Welcome.
Andrea Perry, Flossmoor, Illinois. In court documents submitted by the village admits that on October 5th, 2023, Police Chief Jones complained to Mayor Nelson about feeling micromanaged and requiring independence, and that Police Chief Jones was provided a memo dated October 5th, 2023 that addressed public safety concerns due to his inadequate preparation and management of Flossmoor Fest 2023. The Village of Flossmoor Personnel Manual clearly dictates how such a situation is to be handled in its 1.7 open door policy. This policy states employees should discuss problems with their supervisor. Employees are permitted to circumvent their supervisor if the violation is committed or involves the person to whom the employee reports. The village will investigate. The village will not retaliate against an employee for making complaints under this policy. The mayor's and village manager's handling of Chief Jones's complaint violated this policy. Once Chief Jones reported to the mayor the problems he was having with the village manager, the open door policy clearly dictates what should be done. The village will investigate. Kelly Rondon, SPRHR Human Resource Consultant, in her article, 4-Step Blueprint for Resolving Employee Complaints Against a Manager, states, the first step is to, without assuming guilt, take the employee complaint seriously. And the second step is investigate the complaint carefully and record everything. Under this second step of investigation, she states, it always helps to ask the complaining employee if there is anyone else who can speak to what happened. If there is, be sure to hear those individuals recounting of the events as well. It may also be helpful to interview the manager's other employees. While other employees may not have familiarity with the specific events at issue, it's possible that they could be able to speak to similar occurrences or pattern of conduct they witnessed in the past. Ask the accuser if they have any physical records they've retained themselves that they could provide to you, including emails, voicemails, or IMs. Did the mayor conduct such an investigation? A similar investigation? Any investigation? Instead, the very next day, October 6th, the village manager presents Chief Jones with the biting post-fest memo detailing his multiple deficiencies and failures in the preparation and management of Flossmoor Fest, held on September 9th, 2023. If his performance was as poor as claimed in her memo, why did it take the village manager from September 9th to October 6th, nearly 1 month, to formally address this matter with him? How did it then come to be addressed the following day after Chief Jones talks with the mayor? And when the memo was provided to Chief Jones on October 6th, How did the memo come to be dated October 5th? A reasonable person could construe these actions as retaliatory and perhaps even more. A great disservice was done to Police Officer Jerel Jones by our village. Clearly, the open door policy, that is, the village will investigate, was not done. There was no investigation done on behalf of Chief Jones regarding his complaints about the village manager. Another example of deaf ears, disregard of selected policies, procedures, officers, employees, and constituents. Andrea Perry, 37-year Flossmoor resident, in pursuit of the truth behind the firing of Chief Jerel Jones. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Ms. Shayna Easterling? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Shayna Easterling, and I'm an 11-year resident of Flossmoor. I will be reading a letter published in mytaylormedia.com, South Suburban News. The letter was published on March 7, 2024, by a Flossmoor resident who wishes to remain anonymous. Although the letter focuses on the termination of Chief Jerel Jones, the sentiments expressed in this letter unfortunately have been consistent with several issues seen throughout the village over the past several years. The underlying themes always seem to come back to lack of transparency, lack of communication, and lack of accountability. The letter is entitled, Flossmoor Community Responds to the Termination of Chief Jerel Jones. Dear Flossmoor Community, I am a concerned citizen, a 30-year resident of Flossmoor. My family moved here in 1993. For context, Flossmoor has roughly 9,300 residents. The demographics make up 63% Black or African American, 29% white, 23% Hispanic Latino, 1.7% Asian, and 3% other, according to the 2022 U.S. Census Bureau. I have seen the community change from Blacks being a very small minority to now the majority. It is no secret, when we arrived here, it was not with welcome arms. We were met with our fair share of discrimination, but decided to stay because Flossmoor was beautiful, the schools were incredible, and we were hopeful over time the racial discrimination would go away, and our neighbors would see us for who we were. A young family wanting what was best for our family. Fast forward to 2024. I have great concerns about our elected officials' inability to affect change because of the stronghold the village manager has on the mayor and the trustees. For almost 2 decades, she has influenced decisions made for the village and treated staff with the utmost disrespect. For details, interview any one of the last dozen or so employees who have resigned or were terminated. In my opinion, in addition to holding a master's degree in public administration or the like, the characteristics of a great village manager largely focuses on their ability to have a great soft skill and demonstrate leadership. Having management and leadership style that reflects collaboration, approachability, and a calm and professional demeanor. A genuine listener who takes interest and values the community's opinions. Fiscal responsibility. Ability to demonstrate fiscal experience, specifically around capital improvement, financing, and execution. Transparency. Information should be freely available and directly accessible to those who will be affected by such decisions and their enforcement. This openness prompts accountability and provides information to members of the community about what their government is doing. This takes me to the current situation, Chief Jerel Jones. Chief Jones has been fired. This is the same chief Mayor Michelle Nelson was so proud and elated to hire, stating he had all of the attributes the department needed. What has happened in 11 months? Chief Jones, as quoted by the HF Chronicle, stood out among 18 candidates from across the country because of his extensive detective work, his commitment to the 21st century community policing, and to the 10 shared principles of law enforcement. Nelson also said Jones' skill with youth engagement, recruitment of new officers, and working with residents and media was impeccable. His leadership and reputation throughout the state is at the highest level. All the trustees had high regard for him, and now he is fired. For what? Yes, I'm aware they can hide behind personal matters, which are confidential, but the community deserves to know something. This smells like a village manager and mayor trumping up, no pun intended, reasons why I believe the issue really revolves around race, discrimination, microaggressions, and lack of trust. The next speaker will continue with the reading of his letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Kiana Jones.
My name is Kiana Jones. I am a 4-year resident of Flossmoor. To reiterate, this smells like a village manager and mayor trumping up, no pun intended, reasons why I believe the issue really revolves around race, discrimination, microaggressions, and lack of trust. I will never believe, as decorated as his career has been, with his extensive background in leadership and law enforcement and pristine reputation, he is not the best chief of police for this village. My first time meeting him was at the Flossmoor Fest, where we talked about the changes he made to security. I've attended many fests here, and I have never felt safer with the extra precautions that were taken. I interacted with him and another dozen times or so over the past year and felt 100% safe and heard. I found the below article very interesting. It speaks about the burden of change and turning the department around being tremendous. An excerpt from the article states, "Sometimes it does seem like an unfair burden that just because a chief comes in who is African American, decades of mistrust are just going to melt away. You're not going to be able to solve that quickly, and in some cases, if at all," she said. "But the key thing is that you have to take the time to take the community and see what's going on. I am deeply concerned about our community. Given the world we live in, and specifically our village demographic, losing someone who looks like most of the residents here, genuinely cares about our community, especially our youth, and has so much experience, would be a travesty. Fortunately, our sons are grown and gone, but we still care about the rest of our community that knows proper community policing is critical to building and maintaining a strong community. We see what happens in our neighboring town, Homewood, with the excessive traffic stops of African American males, or do we care? We see what happened with the murdering of Madeline Miller by the Flossmoor Police in October 2022. That was swept away. Clearly, we didn't care. We see what is happening with the new principal at Infant Jesus, receiving an anonymous letter and being referred to as the N-word. Is anyone paying attention? This must stop. All residents of Flossmoor stand up and be heard. You pay taxes here. Attend the board meetings from now forward every first and third Monday at 7:30 at Village Hall. Do not allow two people to dictate what happens here without them seeing and hearing from you regularly. Stand up for Chief Jerel Jones and every other highly qualified and skilled individual being discriminated against. We have a diversity problem here and it must be fixed. Michelle Nelson is a poor leader, being led and influenced by a more poor leader. Go to the polls, April 2025. Don't just talk about it, do something about it. Sincerely, a longtime Flossmoorian and concerned citizen.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Just to clarify, was that the end of the article that Ms. Jones started? Okay, thank you so much. Ms. Deborah Spain? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Deborah Spain, and I've been a longtime resident of Heather Hill. My concern is the safety of the children. We all know that kids have tried or made an attempt to play over in the retention pond area. Kids don't think in terms of danger. So what's going to be the plan when something dastardly does happen over in the pond with one of their children's lives? Are we prepared to be bankrupt? We still need to get a clarification. How is this going to be maintained? Is it through tax dollars? So that was my comment.
Thank you so much. The village will be maintaining that property. Mr. Court Singleton, you're presenting, so I'm assuming that I don't want to go right now, right? Do you want to wait for your presentation later? I'm assuming. Sorry, you signed in.
Hi, my name is Barbara Karstrom. I live in Flossmoor. I personally work every weekend, so I need to request a weekend day off far in advance. And I was planning my schedule for September and saw the gem on the website, but I but not my favorite event of the year, Flossmoor Fest. I asked Trustee Driscoll, who in turn found out that there was not going to be a Flossmoor Fest this year. I appreciated him finding that out for me, but I was disappointed because this year was an amazing opportunity to celebrate the 25-year milestone. I was at the library board meeting last week where they discussed why they're closed on September 7th, because they selected their close days last calendar year and did not know that there was not going to be a Flossmoor Fest. In the audited 24-25 budget, the fire department mentions participation in the children's programs at the Flossmoor Fest under services provided. Streets and grounds in their 2025 goals included continuing to provide all maintenance activities for the annual Flossmoor Fest on page 47. Flossmoor Fest was here first and Hidden Gem tagged on to that day. Last year, only 51 of the 900 runners live in Flossmoor, less than 6%. I am disappointed that the village prioritized an event for 94% outsiders over a Flossmoor-focused event. And I guess giving the runners the entire day allowed them to expand race capacity 25% to 1,200 runners. A resident should not have to check the calendar and assume an event has been canceled because it is not listed. Canceling annual events should be communicated. We had I know it's our centennial year, but we had a Flossmoor Fest the same year we had the 60422 party. But to me, this is another example of our village not being transparent to the Flossmoor community. Just like referring to the Heather Hill Elementary School detention pond as the Flossmoor Viaduct project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Kay Wallace?
Good evening. Good evening, residents of Flossmoor. My name is Kwame Wallace. I'm a new resident to Flossmoor, and I'm here actually to voice a complaint regarding the retention basin. Some residents may be aware, neighbor John, that on September 10th, Saturday, our water was shut off for about 9 hours without any notice. As you can imagine, this is a huge inconvenience for a family and for the additional residents on that specific block. Per the conversations that I had with this vendor, Sub-Oceanic, they mentioned that they were well aware of about a 90% awareness that there could be some issues going into that project, meaning that there could be some breaking of the pipes. And all I'm asking is that that issue should have been voiced to the residents, specifically on that block, to avoid any inconvenience. 9 hours without water is a big inconvenience. There is no thank you, not even thank you, I'm sorry, apology, or even a reach out to indicate what had happened, number one, and that moving forward there would be a little bit more transparency. So unfortunately, this is not the first time that I've been to one of these meetings, and it seems like these voices come to these meetings and they fall on deaf ears. I see nothing being done. I'm only here because I was asked to by a new friend and a resident of the area, but other than that, I don't see any action being taken from these meetings, and it's pathetic, to be honest. And what I'd like to do in the near future is really convey that residents, if you want to change, you got to get on the vote. Okay, simple as that. Because we come here on a regular basis, nothing gets done. So just get out to the poll and make a change. Thank you.
We've got a few more minutes left. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the board on either an agenda or non-agenda item? Yes, welcome.
Hi, I'm Crystal Pluggett. I'm on the list.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Good evening, everyone. I am Crystal Pluggett, and let me just say, I know people see Facebook pages and different things popping up, and they're probably tired of the banter back and forth about the Heather Hill detention basin, but as someone that is kitty corner to it, As much as I would like to be tired of it being there, it's there. And so things that I want to make sure that we address things that's not going anywhere is that we actually revisit the discussion on underground project alternatives. I feel it's crucial to reconsider the option of completing the project underground and filling the hole. We now have evidence that children will likely access the detention basin, which poses significant safety risk. To implement a one-way street during drop-off and pickup, to enhance safety and manage traffic flow better. Consider making the street one-way during school drop-off and pickup times even after all of the construction. 3, install some type of surveillance and monitoring system. Everyone has some form of surveillance, so if we can consider that as well. I know that there's supposed to be some permanent fencing, but if anyone has been up to that fence, you can't see down in that fence until you're right there at the fence. And so we definitely need something to actually monitor, so that way whoever gets notified, whether it's a weight limit of some sort, because we do know animals that are smaller will be able to navigate and move in between those bars. But I really do think that's a consideration, considering a child was able to climb over the fence and push it down in order to get over it, as well as crawl from another side of the fence to get from up under it. So we want to make sure that what we're putting in now is actually something that will work. I mean, it doesn't work for those kids who are inquisitive and who are just curious as if this issue is really that big of an issue, because the kids know it's there, they see it's there. Increase supervision. The teachers, they're doing the best that they can. I know I've seen some trustees and individuals out there to be able to help, and I know there were comments this morning about the police being out there being able to help, and things appear to flow, but that we're only in the second, not even a full week of school. And so it's been problematic as far as the traffic flow in general, and I know that construction is only supposed to happen outside of drop-off and pickup hours. But construction is ongoing. We have multiple phases left of this project. And the last thing that I want to see or be a witness to is another kid being in the detention basin and something worse happening. I know that there was a mix of how high it would go, beyond 6 feet for the fence, not for sure how wide the bars are, but I saw those children on the first day, the second day of school, and as cute as they are, they're just some little video things, and arms, legs, and heads and everything can fit right in between those bars. So those are things that I'm definitely concerned of, and I really do hope that we can take this time to revisit this plan. We pivoted in this plan already with adding new piping because the piping broke, which I'm quite sure with a 100-year-old place, we have 100-year-old piping. So let's really consider how we can pivot and look at how we can not just make this for Heather Hill, those who are complaining, but for everyone so they can stop hearing the complaining as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you so much. Is there anything anyone would like to hold off?
I'd like to add number 4. Hold on, please.
Sounds good.
I'd like to pull off number 2, 5, 6, and 9.
Anything else? Okay, can I get a motion to approve items 3, 7, 8, 10, and 11?
So moved.
Thank you so much. Clerk Gallo, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Redden-Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Daggett?
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll?
Yes.
Trustee Lofton?
Yes.
Trustee Mitros?
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to table, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on July 1st, 2024?
So moved.
Can I get a second on that? This is item number 2.
Does someone want to discuss it? No, I'd actually like to move to table this item.
Number 2?
Oh, no, no.
Pull it off.
I just have a question.
Right, so can I get a second to, on the motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Discussion, and I'll start with you, Trustee Mustafa.
Okay, I wanted to bring the board's attention to what appears to be An oversight in procedure, if you look at page 9 of 24. If you look at the second paragraph where it starts trustee Mustafa, at the end, the last sentence says, trustee Mustafa stated that until her questions and concerns could be addressed, she moved to table the discussion of consideration of the position of Director of Police Services. And I did not ask for a second, when it was not requested.
It was not seconded.
It was not seconded, and there was no discussion, and there was no vote. So I know this is in hindsight, but I'm asking that we be more attentive to procedure.
If nobody seconded it, then
There was no second requested. There's nothing in the minutes to say Mayor Nelson requested.
did you request a second?
I just stated that neither did I,
Okay.
but you as the chairman did not request a second.
Okay.
And
Is that it?
I'm just asking that going forward, we're more attentive to procedure.
Sure.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any other discussion items for that?
I have nothing else for this.
Okay, thank you. Clerk Logalla, would you please call the roll?
Trustee
Item
Daggett.
number 2, sorry.
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Mitros.
Yes.
Trustee Musafa.
Yes.
Trustee Bradley Scott.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. This is item number 4. Can I get a motion to table the approval of the executive session minutes and hold them confidential until the next board meeting, which is, I believe, Tuesday, September 3rd? Monday is a holiday. Thank you.
So moved. Second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion?
Point of information, the motion table is seconded.
Thank you.
I just want to have a point of
Thank you.
information.
No. Clerk Logalla, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Driscoll.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Mitros.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Bradley Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to approve and pay as approved by the Finance Committee the August 5th, 2024 ratification of bills? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Point of information,
Sorry,
please.
excuse me, I asked for a motion for item number 5. Kathy already,
Point of information, please.
I'm sorry. Can I get a motion to approve the bills?
According to Robert's Rules of Order, I do not have to be recognized for point of information. I'm only asking for clarification of the motion that we just voted on. Trustee Daggett, did you ask for it to be tabled to a time certain?
Yeah, that's what I spoke out of turn on number 2. I just got out of order with it. That's what my motion is going to be. Yeah, for time certain, which would be the following.
Right, I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Thank you. Did we have a motion?
So moved.
And then we had a second?
Yes.
With Trustee Lofton. Thank you so much. And I believe Trustee Mustafa, were you the one that pulled this one off? Did you have questions?
My questions pertain in both cases for we'll just go through number 5 first. I'd like more specificity on the legal fees. I had asked in the past to establish line items so that we know what the other legal fees are for. These, and unplanned litigation, I understand that sometimes we're rolling multiple reasons into a category, and I would like, from this point forward, to establish a line item when it pertains to either of the suits that we have. So in the case of August 6th, on page 5 of page 55, are either other legal fees or unplanned litigation pertaining to either of the suits that are in progress.
Neither the Jones suit or the Heather Basin suit, no.
Okay, so can you provide a more fulsome explanation of what is in these categories?
To some extent, yes. so other legal services in this case was pertaining to some personnel matters and a retiree issue. And for unplanned litigation, that was an appeal of an administrative adjudication case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on this line item? Seeing none, Clerk Ladau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Mitros.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Bradley Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to approve the presentation of bills for approval and payment as approved by the Finance Committee dated August 19, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you so much. And I believe, Trustee Mustafa, this was your item as well?
Yes, my question here is similar to the previous month's bills. There's a total, between the 2 months, there's a total of $9,374.75. So we're approaching the material dollar amount. I wanted to know for August 20th, the same question, Bridget, what's in the legal fees, labor, unplanned litigation term, and unplanned litigation water detention basin project? Can you explain me the $5,675.50 especially?
Yes, that is the defense of the village in the suit regarding the Heather Hill Basin.
Okay. Has the village filed a motion to dismiss yet?
Yes, just at the end of last week.
Okay, thank you, that's it.
Are there any other questions on this line item? Seeing none, Clerk Ladau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Mitros.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Bradley Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution amending the budget for fiscal year 2014 for the Village of Flossmoor?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you so much. And I believe, was this, okay, Trustee Mustafa, what was your question?
This is pertaining to the trucks and the other, amendment? All right, the information is in our packet, but as I have requested in the past, it's very, very helpful to see totals. Is that why you're looking at this?
So are you talking about the 3 carryovers?
Okay, so the list that starts with the 157,000,
Yep.
so I got a total of $905,630, so we're approaching $1 million outside of the budget.
Correct.
Okay.
But
I just have, can I ask a question? Your total is referencing the total of what?
On page 154, I had asked in the past that totals be provided, so in lieu of that, I totaled it myself, and I was just confirming with Director Gavoa that it's $905,630.
yes, the only clarification that I would make is those last 3 items were approved in the FY24 budget, and I think in fact ordered in early FY24, but just delivery has not been
Yes.
to us yet, so.
So I'm only literally totaling just what's on this page. Okay. So can you go through an explanation of, are all these from the same fund, or how does this fall out?
So actually, the majority of this is in our capital fund.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see the 49,000 is an additional that we're asking for.
Right.
The last 3 were budgeted and approved in FY24. So they were essentially saved for, and we had a savings of, what is that?
About $46,000 when you sold the truck?
For the, you're talking about 176, yes. But for all 3 of those, now there will be a savings of the sum of those in FY24, and it will be now moved to FY25.
Moved to
So it's
25.
essentially a wash.
A wash.
Yep.
Okay. So my question is, for the 157,344, that is offset in part by the salary of Chief Jones?
The vacancy of that position.
Can you talk about whether it's dollar for dollar or what the difference is?
Oh, off the top of my head, it has to be close. I don't
don't know off the top of my head what his salary was when he left.
I'm not trying to
I
pin,
can address that question. The village had budgeted $160,014 in the 25 budget.
so how much of that was used?
For the position of police chief in 25.
Okay, so that's in 25, but does any of the 157,344, is it any of it offset because of 2024 not having a person in that position?
No, because of the salary package. Correct.
I find it very awkward to look at information out of context.
Okay.
I really like to see, you know, this is what we spent, this is what we didn't have to spend, this is what we're going to spend. The difference is, what is the total dollar impact to the village?
Sure.
When you have a list of numbers, it doesn't show in context whether we're over or under, or one account offsets the other. I'd like to see it more in an accounting format.
Sure.
Just so that my understanding, and I'm not speaking for any other board members, but for my understanding, I see whether, okay, we're not over in this account, or we have offset it, or it's a wash.
Yeah, so I do have a spreadsheet that does that, so I could share that with you.
And I don't want to really share with you individually. I've asked for this 2, 3, maybe more times. John Drunk, you've probably heard me ad nauseum ask for charts.
Okay.
I really think that it does a disservice to our meeting time, your time, if you don't, not to you personally, if it's not presented to us in a way where we have a church. That's no problem. Thank you so much.
Are there any other questions?
I actually have a question. So with when we have these large purchases like generators or vehicles, and I know all the departments have these, it's because of where we're at with ordering and taking, so I mean, it took almost 2 years for these vehicles to come through. Is this gonna be a pretty standard mode of operation at some level for us, isn't it, moving forward, where we're gonna have to set the money aside in one fiscal year, we're not gonna take delivery for 1 or even 2? Is it?
Yeah, I think John would probably talk more to this than.
I need to share that it's probably going to get worse now. It's a standard 2 years now on a large dump truck, is what we're hearing from our other public works directors and other towns.
So they upped the delivery time just across the board to 2 years?
Yeah, it's just taking forever for lead time and stuff. Yeah.
Now, when we purchase, and this is, I guess, a bigger question, when we purchase them, we're locked in at the price that we're purchasing at. They can't go back and raise it on us, can they?
Most of the time, but yes, it depends on the proposal they give us. We have had proposals where they have a right to return if the market price changes and stuff like that. If it holds long enough, we have had them come back and ask for more money. Because the chassis price has gone up, sometimes you can't lock in. It depends which contract you get into, what bid we get into, so.
And I think you know the answer to this, but is there any chance that we're able to negotiate it down if there's a surplus and for whatever reason, the cost of the vehicle goes down?
Possibly, but I've never seen that happen.
I kind of thought that was the answer. And then, and thank you for answering my questions before the meeting as well for the carryover. Does having those pass-throughs, does it really affect much of our operations, or is it just kind of becomes an accounting line item, or is it something we should be concerned about? Or?
Because we budget so far out in our capital plan, there's really no immediate effect to operations.
Okay. And you, for the most part, you've got kind of a running, as you explained to trustee and stuff, you've got it, so at any point.
Yep. Every fiscal year, we have a running list.
Okay, so we can just ask that question, or it could be disseminated out to the whole group if something like this comes up.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's not any extra for, okay, perfect. That's all the questions I have, thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to ask a point of clarification. Is it the board's interest, I know we had started this for purposes of the general fund, which is where most of our expenses come from, that we do this running spreadsheet of any sort of budget amendments, and we had started that for the general fund itself. Is it the board's interest to see that for every single fund in the village?
I think you know my
I already have it spread out by fund, so that's what probably.
My answer is yes as well.
I would agree with the information's already there. It can be shared with us, so we can more operations there.
Anybody else?
I agree.
All right, if there are no other questions, Clerk Wilgalva, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Brenda Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Mitros.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Next, could I get the Director of the Building Department, Mr. Scott Bugner, to come forward to present a request for a resolution of support for Class 8 tax incentive for 1615 Volmer Road. Are you looking for action on this,
Good evening. This is not an action item tonight. We do have Lewis Morgan third up here to present for a Class 8 request.
Welcome to Lewis Morgan and Corey Singleton.
Both in different seats.
We'd like to first address the elephant in the room. We didn't get open lounge to get fancy, so I wear them right every day. We have an event later on today. So. But for your things, we are going to see all our real estate buildings and other things. We are able briefly to say we appreciate the work of Flossmoor. The opening was fantastic, and we have got great support. We are continuing to develop the property. This incentive will help us do that. Before we are in business, so any incentive will help us free up cash flow.
Well, I think you just pretty much covered it. Between the build out and putting us in a position so that we remain profitable and able to continue to provide this business and the service to the community. Class 8 would definitely put us in a favorable position. Take that into consideration for the approval.
Anything else you'd like to add? I'd just like to add a few things, just for context. This building sat vacant with unpaid taxes for years. And the work that you've done to renovate it and bring it back on the tax roll is just incredible. We really appreciate you wanting to do business here in the village of Flossmoor. It's a very well-run establishment. It's widely embraced by folks from throughout the Southland and actually Chicagoland as well. And you're looking to further improve the property. However, the increase in property taxes that come with improvements is something that is somewhat of a barrier to business, and we definitely appreciate that and are sensitive to that as a board. We also are a business-friendly board and would love to do additional work. I know that you'd like to do additional projects in other areas, and we would like to continue that relationship with you, given the track record that you have started to establish. Hoping that this will spur additional projects. So I would be in favor of that, but I don't really have a vote in this matter unless it's a split board. So I will start with Trustee Lofton. Take your comments, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to applaud the young man here who have opened up what I consider to be a first-class business in our town. I am not a cigar smoker, as they know, but I have neighbors and friends who are, and I've had occasion to visit the establishment in the city, and it is indeed, they've set the bar very high for businesses coming into our town, and I applaud them for that. As far as economic development is concerned, I think this will spur that as guests that have come to the establishment, come from other parts of our community and the city of Chicago. They see this and they know what Flossmoor expects. And I appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Trustee Mitros.
I too agree with George and the mayor. Class 8 was set up for 6 townships in South Chicago. Just for stuff like this, that building was kind of a problem. It was underutilized, and you guys took it over. And over the years of Class 8, they've changed things a lot. But you definitely, I think, will use it well, and it's a good incentive, and we want you to prosper with it. So I am definitely in favor of that.
Thank you. Trustee Mustafa.
Thanks for coming back.
I missed your opening, but I went by the next day and I talked to your contractor. And I discovered he doesn't smoke cigars either.
Actually, does not.
So if I could stay around longer, I'd be smoking them too. Okay. No. But I want to comment that it's very elegant. It's classy. You know, you feel special with the decor and the attention you pay to the details to make it really upscale place. So I certainly wish you success and support doing what we can to help you succeed.
Thank you. Trustee Bradley Scott.
Thanks for coming back. I enjoyed the opening that you had. Your rendering looks really elegant, and I was thinking how elegant can a cigar lounge be, and you lived up to it. It was beyond what concepts I could have imagined. I myself am not a smoker, but I could enjoy the environment and didn't feel smoked out. So I was concerned, but you delivered. I also agree that we need more businesses to deliver upscale, top-notch businesses in our community, and you have delivered in that. So I think it's only appropriate that we grant the Class A. So congratulations.
Thank you. Trustee Daggett.
Yeah, I've only been on the board for coming up on 4 years, but the presentation you guys brought us at the beginning, by far, was the most polished, professional. Like, I looked at it and like, these guys have a plan, they know what they're doing. And then to go, as Trustee Bradley Scott said, to go to the embassy and see what you guys like perform, it actually looks better than the renderings, which never happens. It's always like, they kind of got close, but you guys went above. So I think, one of the arguments could be, well, this is a little bit out of order. Normally we use a Class A at the beginning, but from my perspective, this really gives an opportunity to see what you guys built. So it gives me a lot of confidence that this Class A is worth it, because it's a great establishment. I've been too busy to get back over there. Jason Rudolph's been bugging me because I know he walks like 2 blocks to get to you guys. So I will be in there. I appreciated the opening. So from my perspective, I think I'm all for it. My only just clarify, it's not going to change the way I feel it. Is there any whole agreement on this, or is it just a straight Class A?
Typically, we have a make-whole agreement as part of the Class A.
I mean, either way, I'm in favor of it. So, and especially because I know we've had conversations about this is just the first step for you guys in the South Suburbs, and specifically Flossmoor, and you guys have done a great job. So I think we really want to keep well-run businesses. And so far, you guys have shown that you have a very well-run business. So I'm all in favor.
Thank you. Trustee Driscoll.
I'm also in favor. I think it's a great use for the Class A in this situation. My only, point out, we did used to hand out Class A's, to many businesses that were shut themselves out of down. It was a perfect, I think, and I think the board reflects this kind of change in policy towards businesses in Flossmoor, where I think we had some requirements, and you had to be an essential business before you could get it, things like that, which most businesses like yours have never had to make. But you put your time and effort building this out. This is something, benefit we can give you because you're helping build the community. So I think maybe in the future, we get a new list of we had that list before, that we apply that strict list is probably the making. So maybe we redo that and go to the board to, not in this case we try to do it, but future to show different criteria for the Class A. What the two criteria kind of standard are.
I think they would have gotten it initially if they come before us.
All right. Well, thank you. Congratulations. Good luck on your next event. Be careful driving home. Village Attorney Orr will prepare the resolution. Okay, we do not need to go into executive session tonight, so I'm going to call for other business. I will start with Trustee Mustafa.
Bridget, did you need more time for the questions I sent you?
Well, depending on the follow-up questions you may have.
Okay.
I'll happily answer what I can this evening.
I'd like to just briefly read them
She sent those out.
I
She responded.
shared the responses with you and the board.
regarding the MFT audit and the update?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else, trustee Mustafa? Okay, thank you. Trustee Bradley Scott.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to attend the Heavy Hill Detention Basin meeting. Essentially, it wasn't really a meeting about the basin. It was a concerned residents that were concerned about the construction site at the detention basin, and two residents, Ashley Gibbons and Crystal Claggett. Okay, thank you. Called the meeting together to inform neighbors of recent events and at the construction site and equip parents with safety tips. They also reported how they have been told and apprised of their concerns with the village. And I wanted to just bring these concerns to the meeting because I know everyone is not operating off of the same information. So Crystal provided information about the children that were playing at the site in the two areas where the child entered and exited the facility. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but I had an opportunity to visit the site, and in front of Mr. Yates' home, there was a large area where the driveway, at the end of his driveway, there were barricades in front, about 3, maybe 4 feet high. No, not 4, about 3.5 maybe feet high. But the hole was several feet down, and anyone, myself included, could have easily fallen in. And looking into, how the child got into the play area and how curious they are, we need to take additional measures with our contractors to make sure that they're securing the site. In addition, on August 10th, there were two water main breaks at the detention basin construction site. And we heard about that the break lasted for 8 hours or more. The most concerning thing that I heard from residents was that the way that they were notified. Mr. Yates said that on Friday, the workers took a look around, stopped construction because they realized that the potential break was imminent. And Saturday, they just continued with business as usual. And so the residents would have preferred, if they knew that that was going to happen, that the village would have just prepared them instead of being without water for that duration of time. The literature that they did receive didn't really speak to what was happening. The title of the document was Important Steps to Take to Prevent Lead in Your Drinking Water. And the residents felt that that notice was more so concerned about the lead in the water, potentially, and their responsibility, opposed to the water being turned off. And so I know I talked to John Bronke about it, and it's an EPA regulation to pass out that type of literature, but perhaps there is another type of document that can be provided so the residents know exactly what's going on, such as the water main break. So a notification such as our GIS or something else, and I know I'm going to come back and circle back to that, but with the water main break occurring on a Saturday, it really affected how people moved about in the day for such a long period of time. The information that the board received indicated that the water project the repair of both breaks was ordinary, and that there was no jeopardy to water pressure to cause homeowners any extraordinary practices. And so I don't know that we are operating on the same information as the residents, because they were actually without water. And some of the homes have elderly or ill residents or young children. So this disruption was intrusive, and management of the process has to be extremely important for the village to take care of. So the residents that I spoke with, one of the residents indicated that the construction manager told them that the village had opted out of notification communications. And so if someone is speaking on the village's behalf and not providing accurate information, or if the village did opt out, I recommend that we continue to opt into such communication just for the comfort and peace of mind of our residents, regardless if it's a large community of residents affected or a small block.
Did you say that you thought that they imminently knew the water main was going to break?
Yes.
How would you knew that, John?
No, we did not.
Because if that were the case, then that would certainly be very upsetting to me.
Absolutely, that's the
But I
conversation
don't
that
know
they told
how, I don't know
John
how you
Lacey.
would know it was imminently breaking.
They had the water
Those
main
ones
braced for
are
the
60,
40-foot steel beam and
65
strapping,
years old.
so it wouldn't break. Yeah,
Pardon?
they had the main braced.
Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't have done that if they knew it was gonna break. They did that so it wouldn't break, but it broke unfortunately, so it's an old cast iron main.
Yeah, those are 65-year-old lines. Okay. That's,
Do you have more questions?
I do have more questions, but Mr. Gates, because trustee Mitchell asked, I wanted him to just say a few words, because he was one of the residents that I spoke with. I understand that, but because he asked, did we know, and I want him
well,
to.
you answered though, and I asked John, so he explained his part of it, so that's fine. I understand.
Sorry, what were the other questions?
Sure. So if we are providing the residents with the letter also said that they were concerned about, it had 2015, it said that Environmental Protection Agency requires that the village test the water for lead every 3 years, and that the last testing was in 2015 and reported favorable readings. So residents were concerned that we weren't testing the water regularly, and that letter did not help them feel confident about what they were receiving. They were really confused. So when a crisis or incident impacted people with basic necessities, I would offer a few suggestions to communicate with residents. So if we are provided opt-in, automatically require anyone that is working with the village a punch list with requesting the RFQ. And that punch list should include things like steps offered to secure construction sites, provide best practices of our standards, and make the contractors attest to how they're going to meet these requirements, and consider the length of streets and feeder streets to areas to determine the number of traffic signs required to reduce three-point turns and congestion in project areas. Any barriers require any unauthorized entry underground, meaning if there's chutes, manways, or other openings they should be tightly covered with fencing and post warning of indicating people should keep out in similar language. And I did talk with John Blanky, and he indicated that high fencing and things of that nature could be something that would detract people from entering closer and falling into an open area. These are just some short list and immediate items that I would like to be included, and I'm willing to assist in determining the best practices to keep everyone safe. And as it pertains to the GIS system, I don't think that we're quite there yet in terms of my conversation with John Blanky to let residents know that something imminent or an emergency situation has happened, but I would recommend that we use whatever technology is available to us at this date so that anybody impacted can receive live information. And residents at the August 17th meeting indicated that they would like to be communicated via text messages as their first mode of contact and emails as the second mode, because the text messages are again in real time. So with this technology age that we're in, we definitely should be able to let people know what's going on sooner than later. So that's the first part of my comment.
Okay, Director Brunke, do you want to address how residents were notified? And again, this was an accident. It was regrettable, and can you explain what happened?
Yeah, so it's our standard procedure whenever there's a water main break and we have to shut the main down and make the repair, as we did on that Saturday with the contractor. Our personnel went door to door, knocked on every door. If people did not answer, they didn't come to the door, we still always leave that flyer, that's EPA flyer. Our duty guy did do that day. I talked to him and confirmed that, so.
Thank you. And how many people were affected?
Approximately a little over 20, I think. It was all the houses between, on Lawrence Crescent, between Maryland Avenue and Scott Crescent.
Is everybody in that area on your email list? Did they?
Not everybody, it's only people I asked to volunteer to sign up for it. We requested to give us their emails to go on that distribution list, but we didn't email out on that water main break, no. That was standard, we always go knock on doors.
Which is the more quicker?
Yeah, that's, the EPA actually prefers you do that, so.
Can you answer Trustee Bradley Scott's question about when the lead was last tested?
We're doing lead testing again right now. We're collecting samples. We're on another cycle right now. I think it's every 3 years, I believe we're doing it, so, yeah.
She mentioned that 2015 was the last year?
Yeah, that's not the last time we tested, no. We could produce the most recent ones, yeah.
If you could produce that, that would be great.
And John, that information needs to be updated on our website. I see the reference to 2015.
Okay. We can update the flyer, that's all we have to do then. We can put the most recent date on there, so.
Thank you. Thank you. And then what was the notification system was opted out? I don't understand that part of it. Do you know?
I'm not sure what we're referring to there. I don't know if we're referring to, we had the ECOM reverse 911, but I don't know if we can use that for water main breaks. I'm not going to speak to that. I'm not an expert in that one, so.
Yeah, that's not capable as of yet, so nothing I know. So there is, Trustee Bradley says that opt-in from the contractor, speaking of?
The contractor on site, he was the manager for the day. He indicated that the village opted out to notify residents. So if we're having people represent us and speaking on our behalf, they probably shouldn't say that.
On what day?
We'll have a talk with
That
them.
was on
Yeah,
August
that's
10th, the
it.
day of the break.
And then in terms of safety measures, the school district is working to identify the 2 children who were playing in the basin. They assume they're 5th or 6th grade. They're working to identify who they are and talk with parents, just to emphasize the fact that this is not a play area. Anything else?
On a good note, I wanted to thank the police fire for coming out to the Heather Hill, or actually the Holly Lane block party on yesterday. We had our highest number of attendees. It was a very, very great time. And so thank you all very much. You all made the day. Public Works for dropping off the barricades. It was a great time, and I attended the Balmoral block party as well. Everyone had a great time. And Trustee Mustafa, how many years had it been since you all had a block party?
20 years.
They had a really good turnout as well. The weather was not great that day, and they still had a nice crowd. So, thank you.
Thank you. When you talked to folks yesterday, did you encourage them to sign up for the updates from John Brunke? You said people wanted to be notified via text or email. Did you collect any email addresses or phone numbers? Okay, that'd be great. So if you did, that would be great to hand that out to Director Brunke.
Actually, the residents said they were signed up already, but I do have.
Great. And then Mrs. Hum is providing regular updates for folks as the schedule changes because of the weather patterns that is affecting the work we're doing. And again, thanks to all of the staff that's helping out at recess. We are also not doing any construction during drop-off or pickup. We took the first 2 days of school off of construction completely, to let everybody kind of settle in to the new routine, because it is a little bit confusing and chaotic, especially with so many new folks coming to a school at the start of the year. And we continue to work closely with folks over at Heather Hill School and 161 to make that project finish a success. Do you have anything else to add on
Sure. Actually, I had the opportunity to be out there myself on the first day of school at Heather Hill. And the board may recall that we have been charged with taking a look at some stop sign locations in that neighborhood, especially around Heather Hill School. That's a study that has been ongoing. And it was witnessing the traffic patterns around Heather Hill as most of our elementary schools. It is chaotic in the morning, and I think there are some things I'm interested in getting Director Crump out on site and even our engineer before we conclude that stop sign study, because I think that there are some other improvements and some other issues that we need to look at as part of that, so it's as comprehensive as possible. So that will be forthcoming, but I wanted to report on that.
Great, thank you so much. Trustee Day.
So I want to follow up with a few questions from some of the things that Trustee Bradley Scott had. So the door hanger, is that an EPA form letter of sorts that just kind of is?
It contains all the EPA language that we're required to have on there, and they reviewed it, approved it.
Okay, and do we have to put that on doors whether there's lead?
Yes, because we don't, yeah, we put on every house regardless if it's a new or old house, not knowing if they have lead service or even lead in their old fixtures potentially, you don't know.
Okay, and that's just EPA requirement?
EPA requirement, yeah.
And then as far as the standards, Trustee Bradley Scott was mentioning publishing the standards that are used. We follow ASTM standards on all of those projects?
Or for water, it's AWWA.
AWWA, yes. But if we had a project with ASTM or AWW, what is it? AWWA?
Yeah, American Water Works Association. And
we could make those standards. So basically, those are the standards that are set forth by an independent organization that says if you're doing this job, this is the standards that should be followed. And then if you have an organization that is ascribing to those, then they'll follow those. So are those things that we could publish or be made available?
We do. We publish them in our contract documents on projects.
Okay.
Everything, yeah, it's published.
Would it be easy to have because I know we have made a lot of efforts with transparency on our website. Is that something that we could have a page on the website that says, here's this project and here's the standards that we followed? If you have any questions, they can follow up. But sometimes if it's buried down in the construction docs or...
It could be pretty lengthy document to put on for a specific project, but like general ones, I mean, for different operations, maybe something to put on there.
Okay.
I could see that, because otherwise we're going to load it up with hundreds of pages of...
I know, I've read through...
it's not a short list.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, but that's something that if we had a link to you, we could put a link to this is what you could expect. Okay. I want to make sure I'm covering my questions here. Okay, so the site manager on site, is that a safety manager that's on site, or is
I'm not sure who that was out there, if that was their superintendent, but we're going to talk to the contractor, because the information I'm hearing tonight isn't accurate. That came from them if they did, so we're going to go talk to them through our resident engineer, Dave, who's out there on site every day.
And I know we're outside of public comment, but it is not pocket for me to ask this. Would it be okay for Mr. Gase to email a brief to you that could be disseminated out to us and also go to Public Works? Yeah, because I think that information would be good to have if we're going to have to go back and talk to somebody. I'd appreciate it. Would you be able to do that? Okay. Just give us a brief on what you were told so we have that information when we go back. No, I'm not now. It would have to be done through it. Could you send? Sure. Awesome. That'd be great. Thank you. And then I was a little confused on the, there was a hole near barricades. Was that inside or outside of the fence?
Outside where the manhole was put on the street, yeah.
Okay, because I was over there on Friday and I saw that they barricaded off parts of the sidewalk that had missing. Was it part of the sidewalk replacement or something separate?
I think it was the manhole she's referring to. The new manhole was in the the street, yeah.
Okay.
And that's something we can address with the contractor as well, so.
It was,
A week ago, over a week ago.
Oh,
Week and a
Yeah,
half
it's
ago.
backfilled now, it's not there.
So that's a good result.
Yeah, it's been backfilled for.
All right,
since last
that was
year.
just a point.
Gary, I have a picture later if you want.
Yeah, I just was concerned it was taken care of, it wasn't something ongoing. Okay, I think that's all when it comes to the plans. Okay, great, I just gotta get back to your thing. So, I wanted to give a shout out to, Public Works because we had an EF1 tornado come through Flossmoor some time ago, and it actually went directly over the top of my house, luckily it bounced. But we had tons of trees and debris, and you guys were all over it. And that night, anything that was blocking streets, I know there were a bunch of trees that were blocking streets in Flossmoor Park were removed, and you kind of hit it on the ones that were limiting access and mobility, and kind of worked your way down. So I just appreciate all the effort. I know you guys had a lot of long days because it wasn't the only thing that you had going on. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. I know that residents in Flossmoor Park specifically were very grateful that you guys were on it and did a great job with that, so thank you for that. I also wanted to say thank you to District 161 and also the principal of HF for the back to school party. It was fantastic. I know it was a little different than it normally was, but we had tons of kids there, they had a blast. The kids were awesome. I didn't see anything that was like, I don't know, here we go. They were awesome, they were having fun, hanging out, so it was great. So it was a great event, it was very cool to see that. And then also, I just wanted to let everybody know that Parker baseball and softball are currently playing. I've been lucky enough to be accepted to help coach the girls softball team. So my daughter plays, so it kind of worked out. So we have a great team, great bunch of girls. We have our crosstown rivalry, 2 games back to back. One on Wednesday, which is over in Homewood, and one on Thursday, which is right over here at Western Avenue, Mustang Field. So if you guys would come out and support them, I know they would love it. It's a great group of girls, and it's our local Parker Junior High softball team. There are 2 children of people sitting up here to play on that team. So just wanted to give them a shout out. It's a great program, great group. So and that's all.
Thank you. Trustee Driscoll.
I just want to jump on Gary's comments about, I look around the corner from him, Public Works, I don't know, with the first estimate, we had so many branches hauled out to the street. I think the original estimate for the village is going to take, should take a couple of months to get all that picked up. You guys beat all those records on that, and thank you very much. I think Bridget and the mayor for keeping the ComEd on task. I think we were the last, Gary and I might have been the last 2 houses in the village that were turned on, but I know you guys on a daily basis were really kept on top of ComEd, so thank you very much. And then, John, I just got a couple more questions. I mean, with respect to the construction over there, the basin, we're at 99.9% done. I mean, how many more days we have left?
Well, right now it's backed up because we're not working with any Holland, so we're waiting for the basin to dry. They're pumping out today. We're a couple weeks away yet.
So a couple weeks.
Maybe more, depending if we don't get any more weather, so.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lofton.
John, I have one basic question. Given the mass movement of Earth, do you anticipate we may have some more main trouble moving forward? Or are we out of that range?
Well, we should be out of that range, knock on wood. We're done excavating over there near the mains. We still have some more material to take out of some of the slopes and restore the black dirt on the rest of the north end of the basin. And then the fence can go in, the permanent fence, the landscaping, all that work. And the final curb work and concrete replacement of the sidewalks out front. We can't do any of that until all the heavy equipment work's done, because we'll just smash those sidewalks up when we leave with the site with equipment, so.
So just for the record, because of the age of that particular main, the movement of Earth, if I understand it correctly, is probably why it broke.
Yeah, more than likely, yeah. That's probably why. Yeah.
The age, and then also you found some 90-degree.
Yeah, 90-degree bend that came apart. Bolts are, I think, rotted out on it, and it just blew off. They didn't touch it. They had it exposed, and it just came apart. So.
And they replaced it with 245s, which is much better for the
Yeah.
Absolutely. couple of shout outs. I want to thank Chief Kopek and the fire department for their participation at the Ballantrae picnic and back to school event a couple of weeks ago now. It happened on the hottest Saturday I think we've had in months, and we had 2 incidents of not heat stroke, but problems with the heat, and your ambulance was right there to take care of the people and actually took one to the hospital. So thank you very much, appreciate that. After the storm went through and all the trees are down and you guys were out picking them up, one beautiful sunny day, we were in our kitchen and we heard a big crash. Neighbor's tree finally fell across the street from us, and John and his folks came out and got to take care of it.
That's great, team. Thank you so much. Trustee Mikers.
I don't really have anything other than, I think when we lost the power in that storm, I think it was a selfless act on the village that they asked ComEd to not go to any of the trustees' homes until very last. Because Ron was out for several days, I was out for several days, and you guys were. So thank you. And Gina, thank you very much for acting selflessly. That's all I have.
We need to start, please. Clerk Legallo. Village Attorney.
Kathy assignment, I'll be contacting
Thank you. Village Manager. Just a couple of questions for Director Bunke. When was the last time there was a boil order issued here in the village?
Not my time, it has been a long time, I think, probably 20 plus years at least.
And about how many water main breaks do you address every year?
About 35 to 40 a year right now we're averaging.
Okay, if there was a need, if there was a dramatic loss of pressure throughout the system and there was a need for a boil order, how would that be communicated?
There's a few ways we have to do it through social media, phone calls, I believe, through a call system. I don't know if we even had it set up, to be honest with you, but it'd be other ways we have to do it through social media and add it through the whole town and put signs out on the streets where communities don't have their technology. They actually post the barricades out with the signage on the corners. Kind of the old way of doing it. Unfortunately, we like to be able to use the technology. I'm not sure if we have it available.
We do. We have the list that we currently have, and we're still adding to it. So we'll have stuff that we use that we left from that. I mean, I think additionally, there's procedures to actually have go around the town and actually announce it as well. But it's a boil order is a part of it too. So there's some. We'll be using all of our new information, new tactics as well as our old to make sure that we hit every single person who's boiling over. That's what the order is.
Great, thank you so much for that update. Also, I want to invite folks, especially in the Heather Hill community, to a Hidden Gem Half Marathon community meeting. They are hosting a Zoom for residents at 7 p.m. to talk about the street closures. Because the Hidden Gem Half Marathon hits Heather Hill about midway through the half marathon, and because it goes around the entire Heather Hill community, they want to make sure that everybody understands how to get out of the community if they need to get out before, say, 9 a.m.-ish. There are 2 exits on the west side of Heather Hill, but now they've added a third exit that takes you out of Heather Hill north and up to Heather Road and out to Governor's Highway going north. So they want to make sure that folks are understanding about that. It was posted on village social media, so if you could please help spread the word so that everybody who could potentially be impacted is aware of that. That's appreciated.
What day is the meeting, sir?
It's this Wednesday at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And I want to thank
Mayor, the street is Douglas going north.
Douglas going north, yeah. Yep. Also want to thank everybody who's preparing for the Hidden Gem Half Marathon. It runs through approximately 6 neighborhoods through the village of Flossmoor, highlighting the beauty and the diversity of our community. So a special thank you to everybody who is helping create that special day. We really appreciate you. And good luck to runners. And then last but not least, I want to wish everybody a safe and restful Labor Day weekend. And just as a reminder, Labor Day Monday, we will not be here. We will be here the following
Mayor Nelson,
Thank you.
one more thing to add. Since Director Borky mentioned that the site may not be finished for a couple of weeks, for myself, I'm very hopeful that we get no snow this year, that snow won't come next year either. But are there plans, can we work ahead of that just in case things take a little longer so that the school has appropriate measures in place in the event that there is snow, that we plan ahead for that in the event that the construction site is not complete and there are things that we need to communicate to them so that everybody stays safe.
Sure, we're a couple of months away from that, but if there is an issue, for sure. Did you have something to add?
I was just gonna add that we've been communicating with both the district office and Heather Middle School almost on a daily basis at this point. But the communication has been frequent and open to make sure that their concerns are addressed, that we're providing them the information they need to share with parents through their EDU system, and then that same information is posted on our village website as well.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night, everybody.
See.